Now is 6:03. All eyes on Georgia on the eve of our presidential primary. Both candidates, President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump, are working to motivate Georgia voters. Christy Diaz is live outside the Capitol for us this morning. So, Christy, two candidates, two visits to Georgia shows how important voters here are.
It does, and two dueling rallies in cities apart over the weekend. Former President Trump was in Rome, a pretty reliably Republican area, also Marjorie Taylor Greene's hometown. Meanwhile, President Biden was at Pullman Yards here in Atlanta, speaking to a diverse crowd that cheered him on. But both candidates asking for Georgia voters' vote. Two presidents, one current, one former, focusing on Georgia ahead of Tuesday's presidential primary. Both men determined to win our state after it voted blue for the first time in the last presidential election. Trump supporters in Rome confident they can take the state this time.
We're the last stand of freedom. We need Trump back in office.
Biden supporters in Atlanta just as determined to do the same.
We are at a pivotal time in our democracy, and we need to get out and support President Biden.
Both candidates taking jabs at each other while talking about border security, the economy, and the Georgia nursing student, Laken Riley, who was recently murdered.
Donald Trump sees a different America. An American story of resentment, revenge, and retribution. That's not me, that's not you.
We all heard Crooked Joe's angry, dark, hate-filled rant of a State of the Union address. Didn't it bring us together?
This is moving people to vote for President Trump, whether they're in New York City, Chicago, Atlanta, out here in Floyd County in Northwest Georgia.
I think unity is our strength. This is a great example of the strength of the Biden campaign and the strength of our country.
While each campaign tackled similar issues with very different takes, the one thing both sides agree on is getting people out to vote.
If we can get the young people to vote and, just get more people to vote in general, then I think that's what will turn, Georgia around.
I think there's a lot of kids that can vote on this election, and it's very important that they take it seriously, that they come out and vote and not sit at home on the couch. I think if people sit at home on the couch, the other side will probably win.
We had crews at both rallies over the weekend, so if you're interested in seeing either candidate's full remarks, that is up on 11alive.com. In the meantime, if you didn't vote early, tomorrow's primary day, most polls are open from 7 to 7. Guys, back to you.
Christy, thank you. And this morning, political analysts are weighing in on the challenges that both Mr. Biden and Mr. Trump face as they're moving closer to that general election. Emory political science professor Andra Gillespie says it's not an ideal scenario.
Because lots of people didn't want this rematch to happen, that there's the potential for people to stay home, to dissent by not showing up on both sides. And then on the Democratic side, there are people who probably are still concerned about his age, but, in particular, you have folks on the progressive left who may be upset about things that didn't happen in this administration, or they could be upset about the position that President Biden has taken on Gaza.
Political analyst Bill Crane is also weighing in this morning on what both candidates need to do now, starting with Mr. Trump's strategy.
He needs to reach out to supporters of Nikki Haley, never Trumpers, libertarians, and Republican-leaning independents who would traditionally vote for a Republican for president, which would include people like the Bush family. Joe Biden has an equally significant challenge, even given his performance in his State of the Union address, to convince a majority of Democratic voters that he has all that it takes.
And he says President Biden is working to reach primary voters who say they remain undecided.